So we're going to move on when I get through these. We have Banner 2, which has been modified from Japan. Because Tidus's OSB, which comes in the second slot, appeared on the Ultros banner. And because it appeared on the Ultros banner and was not voted on by the global crowd for whatever reason, it now shows up in the festival instead. So we get that. I believe it replaces Squall's OSB. Correct, Mesa. I'm hoping for the same. So this is a banner unlike the first. We have 2 6 stars to open her up and 4 BSBs instead of 3 BSBs. So it's a 2, a 4, and then a 4 instead of 3, 3, 4. So right away, since I generally view BSBs as being more valuable than OSBs, and most USBs as well, it gives this banner a lot of potential. Let's see if it lives up to it. Ferris is USB. This is 6-star light armor. I believe this is the same stats that were on Tyros, so whatever. Slow resist, that's actually useful, even as a minor. RS stop resist, I just care so little about RS stuff. It will be relevant for Nemesis, I believe, since that activates for Nemesis synergy, but whatever. We got a variable damage AoE USB. So what I mean by that is it does AoE damage, so that generally means it has a lower multiplier, but the damage increases the less targets there are. So it's actually both. So if you're fighting against 2 enemies, it will do more damage than it would against 3. And if you're fighting against 1 enemy, then it will do damage equal to if it were a single target attack. This is a power creeped addition that we're adding to things now, and it is very nice because a lot of what we said about our damage potential in the past was, oh, it does AoE damage, so it doesn't do as much anymore on those single target boss fights, because most boss fights are single target, so it's not as useful. This just wipes that detriment off the board. Hyper Break, awesome, because we know this stacks with everything that Ferris can do. 100% stun, we no longer care about this. I mean, this is too little too late. It's no longer a common vulnerability. It happens once in a blue moon. So this isn't really much of a benefit. But having Hyper Break and damage is nice. This is where Ark's Super Soul Break brought benefit equal to an Ultra Soul Break. This is an Ultra Soul Break that brings benefit equal to a Super, to be quite honest with you. Because we don't like this, and now it's just a Hyper Soul Break that does some damage. It's unfortunate. The best thing about this USB isn't what I'm highlighting right now. It is this. Ferris is one of the best supports in the game. She has an awesome ability pool, and she can use great equipment. So while this isn't cool, this is cool. So remember that adds a lot of value. So it's probably a nice thing to have if you already have her BSB or other valuable things for her, like her Imperil Wind if you're running a wind team, or even Sea Lord's Broadside, the old-ass Soul Break that reduces attack and magic by 40%. Yeah, Final Fantasy V has a lot of strong base characters. Alright, moving on, we got Tidus's Overflow. I don't have to talk about this much. It's just an overflow that does water damage. The benefit to this is Tidus is one of the better lead characters due to his ability pool. Trust me, having Celerity 5 is a real nice thing now. Ever since we saw the buffs that 6-star abilities are getting, Celerity 5 just got a big boost. But the main draw of this relic is the fact that it's an OSB class sword that gives water damage in all realms. It's not limited to realm synergy. So this is a good stat stick for water damage, which is a very uncommon. So like we have a ton of holy weapons that give plus holy damage, including OSB tier things, we do not have many that give water damage. Very few. You can count them on one hand. So this is kind of a rare thing and a neat addition to the banner. Probably not something that you specifically aim for unless you're working up on Titus, because as a lead character they develop Titus as a character, and he will always get better as the game goes on, so he's worth the investment. But otherwise it's not like a banner headliner, but it's cool that it's here. That's a great point, Shimra. That's probably exactly what it is. Okay. Shantoto. Our just awfully, terribly neglected Final Fantasy XI realm. I mean, this was a fairly popular MMO even in the West, wasn't it? Like, why have they neglected this so much? I understand that why they skipped the Final Fantasy Grandmasters event, but I mean, would it really be that hard to give us something else for them? I don't know. Up until now, only having one Final Fantasy XI Super Soul Break Plus was kind of sad. It was sad. And I think it was a huge mistake on their part. And really doing the community a big disservice. So we got Shantoto. She is little. She has a really cool sprite. But her game model annoys the heck out of me. She's the original potato. It's a bracer. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, the bracer does not provide any elemental increase. That's a missed opportunity because I don't believe there's any lightning bracers in the game, and lightning burst with a plus lightning bracer would have made this a whole lot more desirable. So we got high element coverage, so it's going to be one of those bursts, like Lulu's, except Lulu doesn't have end lightning attached to it. So this kind of has the best of both worlds. The commands itself, unfortunately, we don't have an AoE option, and this reduces the value a lot to me, because Shantoto is a pure black mage, which means they have poor AoE options, and will for a while until we get the Ultima buffs. And that's if people even want to spend their crystals on Ultima, because Meltdown is such a great 6-star ability. Generally, on my pure black mage bursts, like Maria's for instance, I want that second command that does AoE damage, because that increases their ability to be used, while Shantoto is limited to 2 single target attacks. I honestly think that's a huge detriment to this. I like the fact that you're hitting lightning fire, lightning ice, lightning fire ice. You can hit 3 elements, but you're only really hitting 1 most of the time, which is fine, because you hit lightning all the time, and then you have the ability to hit fire and ice for plus 100 against vulnerability. Okay, this is good. It's good, but it's bad, and I couldn't invest in this character because she has such poor AoE potential. But against single target, this is very good. I think it's half cast time. Let's go check. Yeah, 0.83, that's half cast time. So that's pretty good. So it's great against single target, regrettably bad character against multi-target. Moving on, we have Quistis. This has appeared a lot lately. This is one of the better mage bursts. It has a lot going for it. One, Quistis is one of the better characters in the game. She has White Magic 4 access and Support 4 access. So as a support mage, that allows her to use, a Striker, Devotion, what have you, or Edgar's plus 30% bio damage, whatever. And it allows you to use Wrath at the start of the battle to build up her Burst Soul Break instead of having to cast it immediately for her full effectiveness. Single target, random, whatever. That's not what you're looking for in an element burst anyway. So you have your single target. This is not terribly useful, so I'm just looking at like a primary benefit. She has a 4x single target attack. Basic. Second is one of those Stitch in Time commands, which is plus 30% magic, minus 30% defense. This is great. Love self-stacking faiths. And an AoE command in case she ever needs access to it. So this makes her, because of her great ability pool with the White Magic 4 and the Support 4, and she has a solid burst, makes this a really good hit on the banner if you don't have it already. Yeah, that Wrath, just don't underestimate it. It's very powerful. Let's see, Una BSB. I really like this, and I wanted it for my to increase my ability to do the Final Fantasy X Torment CM. I don't think I would use it often otherwise because the damage potential of it isn't great. It's a healer burst that does damage as well, so that's neat. But I think there's better healer things to use. I don't know. That Magic in Mind is nice. And see, my opinion on this is flipped a little. Because there's a banner coming up that I have already highlighted that I will be pulling heavily on. Because it features one of the best characters in the game and buffs up one of the better characters if you have the relics, and that's the Cella's Realm banner. It has Mog's Burst Soul Break on it, which probably flies under the radar for a lot of people, but once you hear what it does, things change a little bit. The Cella's BSB2 banner is one of the best Realm banners that we have available to pull on. Because Cella's BSB2, but let's go take a look at Mog's Soul Break. Mog's BSB. Hold on. I'm going to link the spreadsheet in chat just so people can watch along this too. Why didn't it go? Come on, bot. Did I spell it wrong? Whatever. Oh, I wrote sped. Thank you. There we go. So we're going to take a look at Mog's. Mog's Burst Soul Break. Love Serenade. Grants Party Haste. Magic in Mind, 30%, and I'm mentioning this now because that's the same status that Una's Burst Soul Break offers, and gives him Burst Mode. So Haste, Magic Mind, 30%, and Burst Mode. That's already really good. My next stream is actually going to be 6 hours from now, when I stream in the for the Burst Soul Break banner. And I believe if I hold to my promise and what's listed on my stream, you can see it right now. I will be doing a 24-hour stream starting at tonight's Burst Soul Break banner, where I'll be playing Final Fantasy 13 on stream and fielding people's questions about ongoing questions about the Soul Break Festival, because I understand people have a lot of time zone issues because we're all international players here, and if they're either unable to watch the VOD or watch the VOD and still have questions, I want to be there for them. So Mog's commands, in addition to having a Heiska Magic and Mind buff, we have an Instacast Hiraga, grants high regen. Okay. And a second command which does a single target magic breakdown. What this allows me to do with a mage team is go infinite, because I can carry Fusion on my team for the magic and the resistance debuff, and stack that with this magic debuff, and also carry Ishtola. And because Mog can instacast heal during the beginning of the fight, Ishtola can just use Wrath and doesn't need to use Mako Might. So what I've given my party now is healing Heiska, Faithga, Mindga, or whatever you want to call it, and just super enabled there are 3 mages on the team, and allowed Ishtola to become the super healer that she can be when given the opportunity. I love this burst. And what's crazy is this isn't even the best relic on the banner. So once I delved into that banner and decided, okay, we're making pulls on that, that's where I'm going to strengthen my Final Fantasy VI, because my Final Fantasy VI kind of stinks. I saw the Magic and Mind status that Mog gives me, and it unfortunately devalued this, because what I would use this for is as a healer on my mage team, for this Magic and Mind buff, and then use an RW for haste. But the Mog burst just blows this out of the water. So it's a matter of, am I okay with waiting 3 months for that Final Fantasy VI banner instead of pulling for this? Yes, I am. So what this relic has for me as value is the plus holy damage on a robe, which is fairly common now because we're going to have access to arcs soon, because I'm either pulling on banner 1 here, or I'm pulling on the Cloud of Darkness Final Fantasy 3-2 banner, which also has arcs robe. So I'll have that available to me. And other than that, we want it for the Final Fantasy X Torment CM. So that it would be awesome there. But can I justify viewing this as a super positive on the banner, even though generally it would be considered, because it is a great burst? No, personally, this is not a huge hit for me anymore. So, as is, I'm looking at Titus is cool, Yuna's cool, Quistis is probably our banner headliner at the moment. Yeah, I mean, Mog BSB, the banner is just disgusting. And additional to that, it also superpowers Realm, who doesn't need it if you understand what her burst does and what that brings to the table. It makes Realm a godly healer. Just a sick banner, and I can't wait for it. So we got Krill's BSB. This is kind of, oh shoot, accidentally hit the back button. This is pretty much Torment CM limited. It's not that great. Not only is the relic not plus fire, it has just silence. I haven't used silence in a long time. But really, all you have available to you is end fire, single target fire command, we don't care about the stun, and AoE fire command. The slow can be situationally useful, but mostly it is end fire, single target AoE. Just basic. Just like, you know, Eject or Tifa's bursts. So I wouldn't use this on an A team ever, so it's good on Final Fantasy V Torment CM. Oh, got the hiccups so bad. Hold on a second, I'm gonna mute. Alright, so that is the end of our bursts. So that is unfortunate that we had the potential for a 4-burst banner, and I only came away with 1 burst that I considered to be tip-top shape. So these are unspectacular. This is cool, but it's not like essential living. Low value bursts, but we do have Quistuses. Let's see if we can somehow redeem this banner with its Super Soul Breaks. And we're off to a good start, because Minfilia's Super Soul Break is actually quite capable. Party attack 50% has surged back onto the scene now that we've raised the attack soft cap, and the attack soft cap will be raised again in the future. And this stacks with the exceptional Onionite Burst Soul Break. And it's nice because this gets rid of haste that would appear on Shout. And instead of haste, we get Last Stand instead. So pairing this up with Onionite's Burst Soul Break, Minfilia and Onionite are great characters, and pairing them up together gives you a very strong basis for a physical team. So this is one of the better Super Soul Breaks in the game. So we're off to a good start. Next we have the old Wrinkly Balls Selfie Dream Stage. And despite being that old, it is still actually quite good for a Super Soul Break. Everyone saw how happy I was to get Rose's clone of this on the Curaga banner. Just having a Curaga Medica and a Magic Blink in Realm is really powerful. And it's a higher power level than you would usually expect out of a Super Soul Break, especially for one that is, I believe this is more than a year old. Like, this is real old stuff. Yes, it was the first Magic Blink Curaga. That's why when people refer to Ovelia's and Rose's from now on, they just say, oh yeah, Rose's Dream Stage, or Ovelia's Dream Stage. This is one of the original. We saw this Medica and we were like, that's gonna be good for a long time. And it was, because it's still really capable. We got X-Death's Magic and Res 30% Faithga. Is weird. It does give him End Dark, though. How do I feel about this? It's a stacking buff, and it gives him End Dark. It would require you to use Mako Might with it, because you want that Faithga on your entire party, but I think that already with the Magic and Res, you're going to be hitting the 20k cap with Dark Zone. So the End Dark, does that really give you much value? Because it's not like you're going to be casting another Soul Break with them. Because once your Soul Break's back up, you're going to want to be casting this again, because you want to buff your party with the Magic and Res again. So the End Dark does benefit the 6x single target dark magic damage, though. It is a staff. Okay, I feel better about this now. It is a staff that gives plus dark damage. So it is a fairly decent relic. Low magic, but it's on a staff, and that's kind of neat. Not many of those exist. And it does work with itself. If you can recast this before your End Dark expires, you can get some really good damage off of the second cast. So if I was making... this would be good in multiplayer and CM scenarios. So I actually do feel better about this than when I first saw it. It's not as useful to parties as Minfilia's, which can be 18 potential, or Dream Stage, which is absolutely awesome in Final Fantasy VIII CMs, but I think it gets easy. There are a lot of good mages in Final Fantasy V. There's also a lot of good physicals. So making a mage CM isn't out of the question. This is kind of cool for that. But moving on. So these are above average Super Soul Breaks so far. It's a good consolation prize, as Kathia says. Zell, Super Soul Break. This is his second Super Soul Break. Zell is a weird character because there are not many people that liked the Chicken Wuss in Final Fantasy VIII, but Final Fantasy Record Keeper said, "Hey, we're gonna give Zell a bunch of really good Soul Breaks," and that's what they did. The Super Soul Break that came before this, Air Guys, was really great for its time, and then they came out with this. And as you heard me talk about with Vans, you already have 0 cast time, single target damage, which is awesome damage on a Super Soul Break already. This is OSB level damage. I want everyone to realize that. This thing can output OSB level non-elemental damage. Self-attack res defense 30%. That's also really good. Obviously, when we think of Zell now, we think about his having one of the best physical bursts in the game. But this Super Soul Break is actually very, very high above average as far as physical Soul Breaks are concerned. So, while we were low on the banner from Burst Soul Break up, the Soul Breaks said, "Hey, guys, it's okay. If you like stuff up here, don't worry about this banner as much if you want to roll on it, because the consolations are actually pretty good." And that helps. That's peace of mind. Because when you pull on banners like these, it's rags or riches usually. It's like, okay, either I get the water sword, either I get Quistis' burst, or, well, I don't want to completely downplay these because they're all quite passable bursts. Most bursts are. But it's more like, damn, I really love Quistis as a character. I want to develop her. She's got an OSB, great ability pool. And then you say, but the constellations are just crap. But in this case, that's not true. So I wouldn't begrudge anyone for pulling on this banner. I do believe it's weaker than the first overall, but I think people can... There are a lot of people that can make a case for this banner. And I know it sounded like I was down on it at first, but it's overall not that bad.